All right, here we are on 91.7 WLFR Pomona, Strange Waves Radio, and inside the Jersey Rock block. That's what I'm saving this for. And our new friend, Rory D'Lasnow. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. It's been a long wait, let's say.
Yes, yeah.
We were supposed to have you on last year. Actually, probably exactly a year ago, and then the COVID broke out, and we all had to cancel. And while we're not done with the COVID yet, we did finally figure out I can do interviews on Zoom. Hey.
Yes. It's a good way to adapt to these crazy circumstances.
And took me a year, but I figured it out. Hey, before we get into it further, I did want to bring in a little bit of backstory. Just about a month or two prior to our scheduled interview last year, I did meet you for the first time at another of our good friends' shows, Northstep Productions, and they were hosting a citywide event, I think, and I caught you over at Rhythm and Spirits. Wasn't? Yes,
exactly. That's right.
Rhythm and Spirits. I was with my wife, Mary, and she just loved your performance. Asked me to go up and get a CD from you, and you voluntarily gave us one, which was great. Thank you. And things just went on from there.
Yeah. I'm really glad that we were able to run into each other. Northstep, as you mentioned, is awesome, and they were gracious enough to have me on that event. It was actually 2 shows back to back, so I had been over at the chocolate bar next door prior to that, and I just ran over to Rhythm and Spirits and pretty much hopped on the stage, and it ended up being such a great time.
Right. It was a lot of luck, I think, because I think whoever was scheduled, and it's their loss because we completely forgot about them now. And they dropped off, and then you filled in on the fly, and it was awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so glad you guys liked it. That's awesome.
Yeah, great. So, okay. So, tell us a little bit, about your own backstory, how you got into music, please.
Sure. So I've been playing since I was a little kid. My father actually played guitar and handed me his guitar when I was in about kindergarten, I guess. And
wow.
Yeah, I got off to an early start. So I picked up the guitar upside down and backwards, which is one of the things that I guess a lot of people noticed when they first see me play. I still play upside down and backwards. So the low E string is actually on the bottom instead of on top.
Lefty then, huh?
Yeah, so a typical lefty would then switch the strings or have a different body shape. So it's a little bit of an in-between between lefty and righty, but it's just the way I learned, and I've been playing for so long that it's like hard to kind of turn it around, and people seem to kind of get a kick out of it. So it's always nice to have another conversation starter.
Yeah, it's cool. There's another guitarist that does that not only plays left-handed, but he never switched the strings up. I can't remember who it was though. But it was somebody big.
There's a few. There's a
Yeah.
There's a guy named Eric Gale, who I know he was pretty famous back in the day, and there's a guitarist from the band the Ataris. That's one that a band I had listened to, and I was delighted to find out that there was another guy in a band I listened to that had done that. And then even on a local scale, there's Jeff from Cold Weather Company actually plays the same way as me.
Oh,
A
cool,
band out of New
cool.
Brunswick. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm a fellow lefty also.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
actually, did take guitar lessons when I was younger. Unfortunately, I didn't keep them up, and I always meant to go back and relearn. But
Yeah.
that's another story. But my teacher at the time, and I still remember his name, Mr. Hutchinson. I don't know what happened to him, but anyway, though, he talked me into still playing right-handed. All right,
Yeah.
and then restrung my strings back for me because I did have them the other way, doing it left-handed, and to this day I got so used to it. Even if I do the air guitar, I am doing the air guitar right-handed, even though I'm left-handed.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, I have heard stories like that. I guess it's easier to find right-handed guitars and right-handed guitar teachers, things like that. But
Yeah. Well, his reasoning at the time, because I'm left-handed, it would be faster doing the fretboards lefty then. But
yeah,
it works out.
yeah, yeah. Well, you saved yourself some trouble because if you ever do get back to it, righty guitars are, I feel like, 10 times more, probably more than that. Yeah, likely to be in a music store. It's really hard to find a proper lefty guitar anywhere you go.
Well, except for I think it's because you have to do the strings on a certain. No, I think I read that they do have the string placement on the frets for the left-handed differently, right? I'm on two.
Yeah,
I'm on two. I'm on keep the tension proper. Is that what it
yeah,
is?
I believe
Yeah.
so.
Okay. Okay. But we digress. We digress. Okay. Hey, I call this Strange Ways Radio for a reason. I'll go off on tangents. Sorry.
Hey, I love it. That's what makes it fun.
Yes, yes. Okay.
The way the conversation goes.
Yeah. Okay. So, how have you been coping with this past year? Have you been doing on virtual concerts, anything else, or what?
Yeah, so I've been lucky to have gotten a lot of outdoor, socially distant shows. Little, I guess more. I call them gigs more than shows because they're like restaurants and bars. They're not like proper venues, but those are oftentimes the most fun shows anyway. But I've had an opportunity to do a lot of those. From a distance. And I have been doing a lot of live streams. I was able to take part in a benefit to help raise money for the Bitter End back this summer with Roomful of Sky,
Oh,
awesome
wow.
event company in New York City. We raised, I think it was $16,000 for the Bitter End in New York City. So that was
Very
a lot of fun to
nice.
be a part of. Yeah, thank you. And then I started a virtual showcase called the Songwriter Showcase over on Instagram. We've been going since I think it was April 1st of last year. So we're coming up on episode 50, where I host three artists from around the world, and everybody plays a couple songs, and we just hang out, and it's broadcast live on Instagram, so people can, join and interact and whatnot. So I've been pretty fortunate in that I've been able to stay active and engaged and keep up with the community during the pandemic.
Very good. Very good. Now, just last week I debuted your new single on
Yeah,
my show.
thank you
Unforgotten.
for that. That's
My
right. Thank you.
pleasure. You're very welcome. Okay. Hey, to tell us a bit about your discography. Before getting to the new one, how many
Sure.
albums you got, or EPs? I think you had.
Yeah. So actually, that kind of ties into the earlier question. I think I should probably just add to, if I can, real quick, which is that I
Sure.
started really young and I took a huge hiatus. I was basically nervous and had self-doubt and thought it was too complicated to do music. So I ended up, leading into this question, releasing an EP in 2011, an EP in 2015. And I didn't really promote it. I didn't really do anything with it. I played like one or two shows here and there, but for the bulk of the time, I started young and then just sort of put it on the back burner. Come 2018, in October, I ended up linking up with some friends. I went to some open mics and I ended up meeting some people who encouraged me to start playing more shows. And at that point, I started really diving in, playing, one show a month, two shows a month. Then it became almost 100, probably about 100 shows a year for the last couple years. And then as I was doing that, I started releasing singles. I released Never Be Mine, which was a remix from my first EP. And then I've released since then now 3 more singles. So basically my story, to answer the initial question, is like one of fits and starts, but I've reached where I am now, kind of starting to ramp things up.
Very good, very good. Okay. Hey, so we know what part of Jersey are you from now?
Unfortunately, I'm from North Jersey, and
it's okay.
I'm wearing a Jersey Shore Seaside Heights sweatshirt as we speak.
No, not the Jersey Shore. Okay, Oceans Side Heights, that's fine. Okay, but oh my God. Okay,
well, you guys are in Atlantic County, right?
We are, but still, every time I hear about the Jersey Shore, it just drives me crazy, right? Hey, and I always need to point out, those idiots from the Jersey Shore show, most of them are from New York.
Oh yeah, they're from like Staten Island or something, right?
Most of them. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the only one that is really from Jersey, I think, is that Paulie D. I think.
Yeah. Well, that aspect of the Jersey Shore doesn't appeal to me as much. But every time I'm down in like Asbury Park or Point Pleasant, I'm like, why do I live in Bergen County? I mean, born and raised up here in Englewood. Now I'm in Teaneck, but Asbury feels like home every time I'm down there.
Oh yeah, so yes, especially Asbury Park, a lot of history there. Springsteen, Stone Pony. Oh, it's awesome.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful community.
It is. So how is your songwriting process? All right, is it lyrics first, music first? How does it work out?
So it depends, but usually for me, it's music first. Usually even like a vocal melody first. I'll just play some chords, but lay the melody over that. Because for me, lyrics are logical. There's like a finite number of ways that you can put words together, and it kind of makes sense. There's like a thought process behind it, but melodies kind of feel like this serendipitous, magical thing that's hard to pin down. So I figure if I could start with a good melody, there are tons of songs, for example, like She Loves You by the Beatles, that are just great songs, but the words are practically nonsense. And then there are songs that have like really profound meanings, but the melody isn't as enticing, and I don't find myself as drawn to them. So I like to start with the hard stuff first. At least that's how I view it.
That kind of reminds me of that story of the Beatles and Bob Dylan meeting for the first time, right? Back then, all right, Beatles were all pop, pop and music first. Dylan, of course, lyrics first, all right? After they met, Beatles influenced Dylan. Dylan influenced Beatles. Beatles got more lyrical. Dylan got more musical after that. It
That's
was
true. Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
that is cool. Yeah, I remember hearing about that little, I don't know if it was like a rift or competitive dynamic between John Lennon and Bob Dylan, where John had written, "You've Got to Hide Your Love Away," I think it was. And Bob Dylan heard it and said, "He's like ripping off my style. It sounds like me." So yeah, there definitely is some interesting dynamic between them, but that makes sense. They kind of rubbed off on each other a little bit.
Right. Um, okay. Excuse me. Um, well, okay. Okay. A lot of, okay. A question I like to ask a lot of people who come on this show. What would be your dream gig? Okay. The kind of show or venue or both that would be your bucket list show.
Yeah. So I still haven't played the pony, and I know a lot of my friends have, so maybe it's not like completely, delusional to think that I could ever play there, but I've been there a couple times and I've seen so many, great shows, and I'm familiar with the history. So I'd like to play the pony. And
Nice.
yeah, and I, obviously you always dream of the sold out crowd and whatnot. I'd like to do it full band because I've played two shows full band, and it's just totally different than solo acoustic. So I think right now, full band Stone Pony with a good engaged crowd sounds like a pretty great dream.
Nice. He's if there's anyone that you could share the stage with or open for either the way, who would that be?
I think I'm going to go with the easy one and just say Paul McCartney, because he's just,
Oh, yeah.
I got to think of somebody more interesting, but Paul's just the man. I mean, I grew up loving the Beatles. Actually grew up more into John Lennon, but as I've become more familiar with his solo work and stuff, Paul's just, the godfather, in my opinion. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. He, have you heard his new album yet?
Yeah. It's pretty good.
McCartney
He
3. Oh, yeah, it is.
never stops putting out great songs. It's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and he, okay. He, and over the course of a month or so, I think I checked out the whole album on my show, and he took some risks too. I think
Yeah.
spread out pretty far, going like McCartney's doing this.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I guess that's kind of been like the trend with those the McCartney series or whatever. I remember, I don't know if it was one or two. I think it was two that had that song "Temporary Secretary." Do you know that song? Such a weird song.
I'm not that familiar with it. I would have to look it up, but yeah.
Yeah. He's all over the place. So that's one of the things I really admire about him. You can hardly even tell it's him on some of the songs because his influences are so wide ranging, and the sounds that he goes for are really diverse.
Okay. You mentioned about going full band as opposed to solo acoustic. Of course, when I saw you, all right, it was solo acoustic. When I checked out your CD, and then most recently your new single, of course, that's a full band sound. Okay, how does that work out for you? Okay, is the studio version what you prefer most? Is it your sometimes you are just able to just do solo, or what? How does that work out for you?
I think solo acoustic can be more intimate, and you have more control over everything that's going on because you're the only person, contributing to the sound. But I've been playing solo acoustic my entire life, and the music that I started listening to as I got older, I grew up on oldies. I grew up with the Beatles and the Everly Brothers and Ricky Nelson. But as time went on, I really gravitated toward, I guess you could say, like emo music. And that's often loud and aggressive. So both my experience being solo acoustic and the music I listen to being more aggressive and full band make me really want to play full band more. So the studio versions are like my full-fledged vision brought to fruition that I'd really like to execute live more. And I think there's a good chance, because my last show right before COVID was one of my favorites. I played at Arlene's Grocery in New York City, and I had a couple buddies behind me,
Oh,
and it
nice.
was awesome. Full band, like pretty much exactly what the vision was. So I'm looking forward to carrying that out more in person live.
All right, awesome, awesome. Okay, are there any band band members, whether live or on your studio that you like to mention, or what?
Sure. Yeah. So I actually also, I probably should mention, I also have a band that has separate material that I'm working to put out. We've been put on
Ah,
hold because of COVID, but my buddy Sergio and I, a drummer, we've been working together. We had a little bit of a lineup change before COVID, and then COVID hit, so that kind of held us up as well. But my buddy Sergio and I are working on putting together a band. We have material ready to go on that front as well. And then from a solo band standpoint, it's like sort of like a rotating group of buddies that I like to pull in to accompany me. I like the idea of having like a cohesive band like the Beatles or Queen. That kind of teamwork really appeals to me. But it's also been kind of fun to say, okay, I know a bunch of really talented musicians. I can kind of just feel things out different times with them in different settings. You get to hear how different artists bring their own individual vibes to your sound when it's like a solo band, backing band type deal.
all right. Does your other band have a name? I don't think you mentioned.
Yeah, so right now we're called Autumn Return. It's just really funny situation because I've written like hundreds of songs since I've been at it for so long, and some of them were more aggressive than others. And a couple of my friends decided, we should try to make this into like a full-on like rock band type deal. But because of this lineup change and then COVID happening, you know, I know that we have like a bunch of songs put together, and my drummer Sergio and I are on the same page and things are tight. But of course nobody in the world has really heard it except for a few people that have heard us rehearse and stuff. So it's called Autumn Return. It's kind of in no man's land right now, but once things start up again, and COVID dies down a little bit, we have some guys that would like to bring in to fill out the band, and we'd like to get moving sooner rather than later.
That's awesome. And well, sure. You know what? Needless to say, when you do get going with that, and you have something for recorded, send it our way. Definitely.
Thanks so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Uh, all right. Since you mentioned that you've written hundreds of songs already, and you're putting out singles mainly right now, is it hard to pick out which ones? I mean, out of 100, which ones do you want to feature?
It definitely is. Obviously, not all of the songs are like of the same caliber. I mean, in my opinion, there are some that stand out and some that I'm like, why did I even write this? Let me like put this back and see if there's any good idea that is part of this song, and pull from it later. But the reason that I was able to pick the songs that I'm putting out now is because I started playing them live. Actually, probably the majority of the set that I played when I met you was comprised of songs that I'm going to be releasing over the next few months. So there are like 5 or 6 songs that people started hearing and saying, where can I find that? And the answer was nowhere. It doesn't exist. So I decided to prioritize those. This single being the first of 3 more the first of 3 singles toward a 5-song EP coming out later this summer. So I'm starting to work through the songs that people said resonated with them most. And yeah, always tough to pick, but I figure that's a good place to start.
Very good, very good. Okay, I know that you were planning on playing acoustic.
Yeah,
Now
sure.
would be a good time as any if you'd like to.
Awesome.
All
Absolutely.
right. Would you like to let our radio audience know um, about where you're playing?
Sure. Okay, I'll lean into it. I am playing in my car. I have not found a way to make music so extremely profitable that I'm living in a mansion with a pool or anything. I currently live in a house with, I think it's 6 roommates, and I believe some
Wow.
of them are either sleeping or working. So I'm in my car. That's the long and short of it.
Talk about intimate. Hey.
There you go. I feel like the acoustics are a little better in here since it's such a tight
Yeah.
space.
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Right. Okay. Please. Okay. Please introduce what you're saying also, and I'll
Sure.
be sure to add it on the playlist later on.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're
Yeah,
very welcome.
I'll play Forgotten, the new song. That kind of makes sense. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna play my upcoming single. Is that okay?
Whatever you like.
All right, cool. Because I'm at that point now where I'm trying to begin to pivot from my first single to my second single. So let me give the new single a little bit of love. So this one is called I Won't Do Anything. And this song is really important to me because, as I often say, at shows and whatnot, because it's informed my songwriting. I lost my mother when I was 14.
Oh.
And yeah, thank you. But it changed me in a lot of ways. But one of the ways that I was able to, cope with it and hopefully turn it into something that can comfort other people is by writing about it. And this song is just about loss and grieving in general and trying to do whatever it takes to live to see another day, essentially. This song is called I Won't Do Anything, and it'll be out in a few weeks. Can you hear it all right?
Cool. Yes.
Every leaky faucet and floorboard, squeaking from the dusk until dawn, whispering your name like a 10-ton weight, still can't comprehend that you're gone. Know that there was life here before you, but I can't quite recall all the steps. The melody and band are still playing, but I'm stuck here in place when you left. I can't run to Pennsylvania and crawl to my father's side. Sure can't run to my mother, but I give her just a little time. But I won't do anything. I can't do anything. I wanna fight the good fight on, but I need to keep my nightlight on. I won't do anything. I can't do anything. I wanna fight the good fight on, but I need to keep my nightlight on. When my mother left, I knew nothing of what had come down or what was there. Sang a song of love at her funeral. My heart had no reaction prepared. I don't feel I belong here, so right at the end of the tracks. This cursed path I've been given, with heart and panic attacks. But I won't do anything. I can't do anything. I wanna fight the good fight on, but I need to keep my night light on. I won't do anything, I can't do anything. I wanna fight the good fight on, but I need to keep my night light on. Now you're gone and I don't know how to take my coat off. I'm into the arms of any beating heart where love can start to bloom. Now you're gone and I can't seem to put my shoes away. Vacant night, I will eviscerate all that remains and never feel again this way. I won't do anything, I can't do anything. I wanna fight the good fight on, but I need to keep my night light on.
Wow, that was
Thank
beautiful.
you, man. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. I think your mother would have been proud. Really, that's great.
Thank you.
That's great. Yes.
Appreciate that.
Uh,
She was my first manager, I always say, because
oh
she used to
wow.
help get me gigs and whatnot at Borders bookstores and the Englewood Library, and small scale stuff. But for a 12-year-old, 11 years old, I was like, hey, I'm famous.
Oh wow. Wow. That's yeah. That is awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. 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 You know what? Hey, that would be a really, really, really great song in May. On Mother's Day, definitely.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good
yeah,
point.
yeah,
Interesting. Maybe I need to
yeah.
think about how to strategize there.
uh,
Cool,
so,
cool, cool.
okay, and I'm talking about shows though, and we talked about your dream gig.
Mhm.
Um, all right, before COVID hit us, all right, were there any interesting shows stories that you might like to share at all?
Yeah. I really enjoyed that Arlene's Grocery gig because it was full band. But I think the show that I was like most excited about is one that didn't happen yet because of COVID. And it actually has ties to Norstep and Atlantic City
Hmm.
because I was offered the chance to be one of the acoustic openers for the Newfound Glory and the early November session for the Atlantic City Beer and Music Festival.
Oh wow,
Um,
yeah.
the good news is it's currently slated outdoors for June 4th of this year, but it was
Is it?
supposed to be April of last year. So
Right.
there's going to be new headliners. So I'm curious to see who they pick. But that obviously was like, when I got word that I was able to play on that, I was like, oh man, that's a pretty good show.
Yeah, oh yeah, would have been. And I
Yeah.
went to I went to the beer fest a couple years back when they had Hog and Molly there. It was great.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, they've had some great ones over the year. I mean, the Used was there. I think the year
right.
prior, one of my favorite bands. Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
curious to see what they get.
Yeah. Yes. I'm just curious. Would you know where on where they would be having it outside if it's outside?
I'm not sure. I thought it was until recently going to be still in the convention center. So I was like not super optimistic about that being, feasible by June. But I didn't catch where outside it's going to be.
Hmm. Interesting.
Presumably somewhere
Interesting.
with a fair amount of space.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just well, there are various fields, like the old Baderfield and all,
Okay.
probably
Yeah.
out there. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Time is flying by. We do want to leave more room for your studio music. Are there any other songs you would like to play before we wrap things up, or is that it?
Uh,
It's
I
up
mean,
to you.
it's totally up to you. I mean, if we have time for one more, I'd be happy
Yeah,
to
sure.
play it. No? Sure. Cool. All right.
Whatever you like.
Cool. Then in that case, I will play the current single.
Very good.
I'll play Forgotten, and this is just a song that I wrote about a man who is essentially on his deathbed, trying to reconcile his love for his family with the fact that he feels cast aside. That's become sort of my go-to explanation for it, but that's probably the most concise way I can explain it. I work in mental health, and I've seen a lot of folks who have been cut off from their family due to their, mental health struggles, oftentimes substance abuse issues that come with it. So this song just goes out to anyone who's estranged from their family, I know what you've been dying to know, and no, I'm not just fine. Holding on just a little bit tighter to these last moments of mine. Holding on, just swear you won't let go. And I know that you won't, 'cause I know that you know. And I know that you won't, 'cause I know that you know. I know what you've been dying to say. I swear that it's alright. If those words don't leave that pretty mouth today, and your lips are sealed so tight. Holding on, the moment's almost there. And I know that you're scared. You know you can't prepare, but you know it's goodbye. But you know you won't cry. All is forgotten. I love you just the same. It doesn't matter, at least you remember my name. Sometimes you take the hand you've been dealt. It's not your fault, you were always somewhere else. Please don't you cry if you miss me later on. You got your things and a life of your own. These are the moments that you never can forget. Please don't you cry, oh, I'm not gone out yet. Hold on. Don't let yourself go. Soon they're gonna whisk us all away. Hold on. Don't let yourself go. Soon they're gonna whisk us all away.
That is great. That
Thank
is
you.
awesome. You are welcome. A beautiful version too. I just have to say, okay, hey, while your studio tracks are great, okay, I really do love your solo acoustic also. This was
Oh,
really good.
thank you so much. I really appreciate that, because now that I've heard the studio stuff, it's always hard for me to be like, oh man, I got to bring it down again.
No,
I'm glad to know that it still sounds all right.
yes, yes, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, where can people find you online?
Sure. The best place I usually say is Instagram to keep in touch, and Spotify to hear the songs. Everything is also linked to my official website, which is rorydelasnow.com. But those are the two platforms that I usually highlight the most.
Very good, very good. And I know I've found you on Facebook also.
Yes.
Now I'll look you up on Instagram too.
Sure. Awesome. Thank
Very
you.
good,
Yeah.
very good. Yeah, awesome. Okay. All right. You have the Forgotten single out now. When do you plan on coming out with the newer single?
I'm currently thinking early April. So in
April.
about
Very good.
3 weeks, probably. I haven't announced it yet, but that's probably when it's going to be.
Very good. Very good. And I'm looking forward to all of that, and the best of luck. Hopefully we can all see you live again real soon. Hopefully we will all get vaccinated, and
Yes.
things will come back to a semblance of normal again.
I hope so. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. You too. It's
My
crazy
pleasure.
times.
All right. And, best of luck, and we will see you in the future.
Wonderful. You as well. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. No, that's